Under the still, eerie ambience of a darkened suburban night, the world seemed wrapped in a heavy silence. The whisper of the wind carried secrets, and the rustle of leaves echoed like distant murmurs. In this foreboding setting, the story of a weekend babysitting job unfolded, a narrative that would soon blur the lines between ordinary responsibility and surreal terror. Sarah, a diligent caretaker, known for her warm smile and gentle heart, found herself stepping into a house where every shadow seemed animated by unseen eyes. With the doors securely locked and the dimmed lights barely illuminating the corridors, the stage was set for a night that promised nothing less than an unsettling twist of fate. The house, usually serene in its nightly quiet, took on the appearance of a silent sentinel guarding mysteries best left undiscovered. Crisp autumn wind wove through the windows, its playful hum creating an uncanny symphony that deepened the sense of isolation. With every cautious step she took, Sarah felt the weight of invisible scrutiny. It was not merely the chilling hum of the outside world that unsettled her. It was a deeper, unspoken dread that something did not belong. In that moment, the juxtaposition of her warm duty as a babysitter and the cold menace lurking beyond evoked a powerful mix of responsibility and fear. Each creak of the wooden floorboards and murmur of the settling house convinced her that she was not alone. Under the facades of routine and care, an extraordinary tension simmered beneath the surface, transforming a simple babysitting task into a suspenseful chase against looming, unknown forces. This was a night where every heartbeat echoed louder than the last, and every glance into the darkness promised the revelation of an ominous truth. As the evening crept forward, the soft glow of streetlights outside painted the walls with fleeting silhouettes. The subdued clamor of distant traffic blended with the murmurs of nature, crafting a background score to what was rapidly becoming an ordeal of intuition and suspicion. Sarah moved through the halls with quiet determination, her footsteps measured and careful. The house, with its antique decor and creaking floors, seemed to whisper untold stories of the past. Every framed photograph and every shadow cast in the dim light contributed to an atmosphere heavy with mystery. Outside, unnoticed by the world beyond, a figure lingered in the periphery of vision, watching with an intensity that defied explanation. There was an uncanny precision in the pattern of shadows. It was as though the darkness itself conspired to hide secrets woven into the fabric of the night. With each passing minute, the environment grew denser with unspoken threats. Tension slithered along the walls, twisting familiar objects into potential harbingers of doom. The subtle hum of the refrigerator, combined with the occasional groan of settling timber, escalated Sarah's growing unease. It became painfully evident that no ordinary babysitting assignment could account for the palpable dread that now coiled in the air. The duality of her role was stark. In one sense, she was a guardian entrusted with the precious responsibility of caring for innocent lives. Yet, on the other, she was entangled in a scenario that felt like a meticulously crafted trap, where every tick of the clock signaled another step towards a fate she was powerless to evade. As she moved to check on the children in their rooms, the interplay of light and shadow seemed to mock her efforts to find comfort. Each door was a threshold to a separate realm, one more enigmatic than the last. In that vast silent house, time itself seemed to dilate, pulling moments into a slow, deliberate crawl. The concept of safety grew more abstract, replaced by the chilling possibility of betrayal, the perception that even the walls might possess a secret agenda. A subtle, almost imperceptible sound, akin to distant tapping, ebbed and flowed in the background, igniting Sarah's imagination with foreboding scenarios. With every cautious step she took, the psychic weight of the situation deepened, nudging her towards the realization that the true danger was not within the children she cared for, but lurking in the interstices between each heartbeat. The contrast between the gentle innocence of her charges and the menacing atmosphere was jarring, intensifying the surreal nature of the night. An inexplicable sensation in the pit of her stomach warned her that the night, though cloaked in seeming normalcy, was about to unveil its darker secrets. The subtle interplay of sound, light, and shadow deepened the labyrinth of her emotions, mixing apprehension with a strange form of curiosity. Every creak and whispered echo resonated as a reminder that in the heart of darkness, even the smallest anomaly could herald an unimaginable revelation that defied logic. Within the labyrinthine corridors of the house, an unseen tension escalated as the minutes turned to hours. Sarah found herself moving more deliberately, as if every step was mapped by fate and every pause a brief conversation with destiny. In the quiet isolation of the night, the silence itself was disrupted by subtle signs: a misplaced book, a curtain slightly ajar, or a shadow that did not belong. These details wove together a tapestry of suspense that infiltrated her thoughts at every moment. An unsettling certainty gripped her, as though the very walls of the old house were complicit in concealing secrets. It was not merely the physical anomalies that unsettled her, but the unnerving feeling that she was being observed from every obscure angle. The thought of eyes hidden behind layers of darkness drew her attention to a pattern that defied conventional reasoning. With calm resolve, she proceeded to tend to the sleeping children, each step filled with a subconscious urgency born of instinct and adrenaline. The regularity of her routine now clashed violently with the irregular pulse of lingering dread. The incongruity was palpable. In one room lay innocent dreams and quiet slumber, while outside, forces unknown silently orchestrated an enigmatic performance designed to unsettle her. Even the commonplace sounds of the house, the creaking floors and the soft hum of mechanical appliances, took on sinister undertones in the quiet hours. It was at this juncture that the distinction between reality and nightmare began to blur. Within the folds of every minute, the house revealed hints of hidden motions, a subtle flicker in the periphery of her vision, or an inexplicable chill that permeated the air. The environment seemed to operate on its own cryptic rhythm, a heartbeat that pulsed beneath the veneer of normalcy. In her solitary vigil, Sarah's thoughts churned as she tried to reconcile her duty of care with the sensation of being intruded upon by unseen specters. The internal struggle was as intense as it was silent, a battle fought in the private recesses of her mind. No longer did she perceive the babysitting task as a simple job. It had transformed into an uncharted expedition, into a realm where trust was as elusive as a shadow in the night. The house, in its immovable silence, was both a sanctuary and a prison, a place where every element, from the flickering hallway light to the unyielding darkness in corners, seemed poised to betray her. As each second passed, the gravity of the situation deepened, leaving her to confront not only the mystery surrounding her, but also the darker corners of her own psyche. A nearly imperceptible sound, a slow measured tapping, echoed once again, punctuating the stillness and marking the beginning of an inevitable confrontation between her guarded reality and an encroaching otherworldly force. The lingering sound and shifting shadows uncovered layers of her deepest fears as the fabric of her known world began to unravel. Each moment was a testament to the fragile boundary between trust and terror. Deep into the oppressive heart of the night, the atmosphere grew palpably thicker, as if the darkness had substance. Sarah's senses sharpened with every minute, and the eerie tableau of the house revealed hints of intentions unknown. The sound of a quiet drip of water in a distant room resonated like a ticking clock, measuring the descent into chaos. Each muted noise reverberated through the silent corridors, merging with the erratic rhythm of her heartbeat. The chilling awareness that she was not alone steadily mounted as the boundaries between a safe haven and a sinister hideout blurred beyond recognition. Every subtle movement, a flicker of a shadow across the hallway, a sudden inexplicable chill in the air, served as a silent herald of impending confrontation. In the interplay of dim light and pervasive gloom, A disquieting realization began to take shape. The watchful presence lurking in the darkness was not an accidental observer, but a deliberate force with malevolent intent. As Sarah moved through the house, her internal alarm grew louder, each pulse a reminder that danger was preparatory and methodical. It was in these strange moments that a hidden narrative unfurled, a narrative that wove together the threads of fate, urging her to confront an entity that had been biding its time. The ambiguity of the situation was as maddening as it was spectacular. Every routine glance became charged with suspicion, and every familiar object morphed into a potential omen. In a moment of chilling clarity, it was revealed that the eyes watching from the darkness belonged to none other than an intruder meticulously orchestrating a game of cat and mouse. This revelation came with the shock of an unwelcome twist. What initially appeared as a prank transformed into a meticulously planned invasion of privacy. The realization dawned that the presence outside was not merely mischievous, but something far more premeditated and nefarious. The continuum of normalcy shattered, replaced by an intense, primal sensation of vulnerability and terror. In the ensuing silence, the very fabric of the night seemed to pulse with an otherworldly force, suggesting that the house held secrets deeply interwoven with a past that refused to remain buried. Each element of the night pointed towards an eerie convergence of fate and fear. Sarah's every step in the labyrinth of shadows was now a critical decision, in a game where the stakes were her very survival. The relentless march of minutes and the advance of darkness combined into a crescendo of dread that signified the arrival of a confrontation where no escape was guaranteed. In this final stretch of darkness, every sense was heightened to a razor's edge. The undeniable presence that haunted the corners of the house manifested itself in every creak and soft sigh of the walls. The weight of reality shifted subtly, blending with an otherworldly intrusion that challenged every notion of safety and left Sarah teetering on the brink of despair. This ultimate clash of fear and fortitude redefined her night with unwavering, desperate resolve beyond measure. In the long, quiet aftermath of the confrontation, the house seemed to exhale a slow, oppressive breath. In the dim aftermath of suspense, a fragile calm began to envelop the halls. Although the memory of the night's events continued to echo in every corner, Sarah, still trembling from the orchestrated intrusion, moved through the now silent rooms with a cautious determination that belied the storm of emotions churning within her. The night's terror, though momentarily at its zenith, had receded into a lingering unease that refused to be completely subdued. Shadows, once sinister and accusatory, now softened to mere hints of shapes in the dark, yet the residual presence of that unseen observer haunted her thoughts, reminding her that the boundary between safety and vulnerability had been irrevocably altered. As she reassessed the remnants of normalcy, Sarah meticulously checked every lock, every window, erasing any doubt about her self-protection. The creeping certainty of clandestine surveillance was etched into her memory, a silent admonition not to trust the familiar without scrutiny. In the silence that followed, time folded differently, as if the house itself were recounting its own hidden history. Each step on the creaking floors resonated with echoes of secrets past, tales of previous occupants whose stories had ended in whispers and unresolved mysteries. The midnight ordeal evolved into a somber allegory, a reflective meditation on the interplay between caution and innocence, where every caretaker is both a guardian and an unwitting target of fate. In the dim light of the early hours, Sarah reflected upon the surreal dance of trust and terror that had defined the night. The intrusive presence, once a shadow looming with malevolence, now receded into the recesses of memory, leaving behind an indelible mark on her psyche. The spectral observer, whether real or conjured by the strained perceptions of fear, had become a symbol of the unpredictable nature of the world, a reminder that even in moments of routine, the extraordinary is never far behind. With measured steps, she moved from room to room, her resolve strengthening as the bonds of fear began to unravel under the scrutiny of the breaking dawn. The inner narrative of the night, riddled with cryptic symbols and subtle warnings, had reformed itself into a lesson of perseverance. Every fleeting shadow carved into her memory a deep imprint of vulnerability, yet also ignited a spark of resilience. The collision between imposed duty and uninvited dread translated into an experience that was at once harrowing and enlightening. It was a night that forced one to grapple with the duality of human existence, the simultaneous exposure to love and terror, trust and trepidation, the delicate balance between caring for others and ensuring one's own security had been thrown into sharp relief. As the first pale light of dawn nimbly crept across the horizon, the world outside began to stir with its usual rhythms. Yet inside, the transformation was evident, a metamorphosis from a state of passive obedience to one of vigilant awareness. The events of the night had imbued Sarah with a newfound vigilance, a perception as sharp as a fine-edged blade slicing through the ordinary fabric of life. The quiet hum of the early morning was now interlaced with the residual adrenaline of a night spent at the crossroads of reality and the inexplicable. In the fragile stillness of that moment, the impossibility of fully unwinding the thread of unease became palpable. The legacy of those disquieting hours was not confined to a single incident, but rather spread its influence across every subsequent day. The memory of being watched, of confronting an unseen malicious force, was a permanent mark etched onto her soul, a reminder that safety is often a fragile illusion. In this silent epilogue to the night's events, the house stood as an enduring testament to the mysterious forces that occasionally disrupt the ordinary, leaving behind echoes of uncertainty in their wake. Sarah emerged from that ordeal not merely as a babysitter who had survived a terrifying night, but as a person irrevocably changed by an encounter with the inexplicable, a living chronicle of a night when the line between the known and the unknown had been irrevocably blurred. Her steps, though tentative at first, eventually took on the assured rhythm of someone who had learned to navigate the delicate interplay of darkness and light. With cautious optimism and an understanding of her vulnerability, she welcomed the new day, carrying the silent knowledge that the world remained a tapestry woven with beauty and menace.